What if I told you that one of the most important decisions you make for your health after 60 happens behind closed doors? Whether you choose masturbation or sex isn't just about pleasure. It could shape your energy, your prostate health, your sleep, even your emotional well-being. And most men are making the wrong choice, without even realizing it. I'm Dr. Daniel Hartman, a men's health expert based in Chicago. For over 30 years, I've worked closely with men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, and I want to tell you something important today. The real problem isn't your age, it's what's happening inside your body, your hormones, your heart, your brain, and yes, your bedroom habits. Let's explore 5 powerful truths that every man over 60 should know when it comes to masturbation vs. sex. As men grow older, into their 60s, 70s, even 80s, our relationships with our bodies, minds, and desires begin to shift. Things slow down, priorities change, but one area that still remains powerful and often misunderstood is how our brain processes sexual activity. Most men believe that masturbation and sex are simply two sides of the same coin, that as long as you're getting release, it doesn't matter how. But that's not quite true. In fact, you may be harming yourself without even knowing. You see, when you engage in sexual activity, either with a partner or alone, your brain releases a complex mix of chemicals. There's dopamine, the pleasure hormone, endorphins, your natural pain relievers, and oxytocin, the bonding hormone. But here's what most men over 60 don't realize. Sex with a partner activates a much stronger response in these neural circuits than masturbation. It creates a richer emotional and psychological experience. Your brain lights up more, your mood shifts more deeply, your heart connects, not just your body. On the other hand, when masturbation becomes a regular habit, especially in isolation, without affection or emotional intimacy, it trains your brain to seek quick pleasure with no connection. The dopamine spike is still there, but it fades fast. And over time, this pattern can lead to what urologists quietly call desensitization. That means your body may respond slower. Erections may not feel as strong. The satisfaction you once felt begins to feel dull. It's subtle, but it's real, and no one talks about this, but they should. You're not alone if you've felt a shift. Many men over 60 come to this point where they say, "I don't feel the same anymore. I don't get the same joy from it." That's because your brain is learning a habit, one that's focused on release, not on connection. Over time, this can even affect your motivation, your mood, your ability to focus. You may find yourself more tired, more irritable, or even more withdrawn. And it's not because you're aging. It's because your brain is being conditioned in the wrong direction. This might shock you, but most old men do this wrong. They turn to solo pleasure as a default because it's easier, faster, private. There's no judgment, no rejection, but what they give up in return is much more than they realize: the opportunity to bond, the chance to feel desired, the natural exchange of warmth, energy, and confidence that comes through intimate human touch. And that's the real tragedy. Not that your body has changed, but that your brain has been rewired by habit. But here's the truth you deserve to hear. You can retrain your brain. You can choose differently. And you can still enjoy a rich, connected, emotionally fulfilling sexual life in your later years. You deserve a healthy, confident life, no matter your age. By the time most men reach their 60s or 70s, they've been told countless times to watch their cholesterol, manage their blood pressure, and avoid stress to protect their heart. But there's one natural, deeply human activity that rarely gets mentioned. And yet it can be one of the most powerful heart boosters available: sex. Not just any kind of sexual activity, but intimate, shared sex with a partner. This might surprise you, but the kind of sexual activity you choose can have a serious effect on your cardiovascular health. Let's be honest, masturbation is easier. It's private, predictable, and doesn't rely on anyone else. And yes, it provides a momentary sense of release and even a mild drop in blood pressure. But physiologically, it just doesn't compare to the effects of real, physical intimacy. During sex with a partner, your heart rate naturally increases in a healthy, rhythmic way. Blood vessels expand, your respiratory system becomes more active, You're actually engaging your entire cardiovascular system. It's mild, but it's real exercise. And here's what most men don't realize. The emotional intimacy that comes with partnered sex causes your brain to release oxytocin, sometimes called the love hormone. Oxytocin doesn't just make you feel connected. It actually reduces levels of cortisol, the hormone responsible for stress. Lower cortisol means less inflammation, better blood pressure control, and less strain on your arteries. Masturbation, while it does offer some endorphin release, simply doesn't produce the same hormonal balance. You may be calming your nerves for a moment, but your body isn't reaping the full cardiovascular reward. Most men feel this way but never say it. I used to feel alive after sex. These days, I just feel tired. That feeling isn't just about getting older. It's about the quality of your sexual activity. When sex becomes a solo, mechanical act, it loses the physical and emotional benefits that once made it feel so energizing. Over time, this can lead to increased lethargy, a drop in drive, and even a decline in self-esteem. No one talks about this, but they should, because you may be choosing the more convenient path and silently paying for it with your health. You're not alone in this. Many men choose masturbation simply because it feels safer. It doesn't involve the complexities of a relationship or the vulnerability of asking someone for intimacy, but as a result, they miss out on one of nature's most effective, enjoyable forms of heart support. Sex with a partner isn't just about performance, it's about connection, movement, breath, and chemistry. It's about being touched and known and letting your body return to a natural rhythm that heals more than just your emotions. You deserve a strong heart. You deserve a life that still feels passionate, connected, and full of vitality. And yes, even in your 60s or 70s, you still deserve love, touch, and the kind of intimacy that helps your heart beat just a little bit stronger. As men age, prostate health becomes a growing concern, sometimes whispered about in waiting rooms, often ignored until symptoms appear. But here's the truth most doctors don't explain clearly. Your sexual habits can play a meaningful role in maintaining prostate health. That includes masturbation. Yes, it can be helpful, but only when done in moderation. You might be surprised to hear this, but overdoing it might be doing your body more harm than good. Let's break it down in a way that makes sense. The prostate is a small gland that sits just below the bladder. One of its roles is to produce seminal fluid, the liquid that carries sperm during ejaculation. When a man ejaculates, the prostate contracts to push out that fluid. If ejaculation doesn't happen regularly, fluid can build up, potentially leading to inflammation, discomfort, and even an increased risk of issues like prostatitis, or, in some cases, abnormal cell changes over time. That's why some urologists suggest that regular ejaculation through sex or masturbation can actually help clear out the prostate and keep it functioning smoothly. But here's where it gets tricky. More isn't always better. You may be harming yourself without even knowing. You see, when masturbation becomes too frequent, especially if driven by stress, anxiety, boredom, or compulsive habits, it can have the opposite effect. It can lead to fatigue, groin pain, pelvic tension, and a phenomenon some men experience called sexual burnout. Most men feel this way but don't have the words for it. They say things like, "I feel drained," or "I just don't have the drive I used to." It's not just in your head. It's your body telling you something. No one talks about this, but they should. Excessive stimulation without emotional connection can desensitize the prostate and nervous system. Over time, it can reduce your ability to feel pleasure, cause inconsistent erections, and trigger a drop in testosterone. Your body starts to feel like it's always on edge and never fully relaxed. That's why moderation matters. Your prostate, like the rest of your body, needs balance, not overload. Most men over 60 assume that if they're not having sex with a partner, frequent masturbation is the next best option, and yes, it's better than nothing. It helps with circulation, stress relief, and fluid movement, but only when it's part of a balanced, mindful routine, not when it becomes a daily escape from loneliness or habit-driven behavior that leaves you feeling empty afterwards. You're not alone in this journey. Many men are quietly trying to figure out what's normal, what's healthy, and what's sustainable. You deserve honest answers. You deserve to understand your body and protect it, not through shame or silence, but through wisdom and care. You deserve a healthy, confident life, no matter your age. If you're a man over 60, chances are you've noticed some changes in your sleep. You may find yourself waking up more often at night, feeling less rested in the morning, or even struggling with those quiet moments before bed when the mind races and the body feels unsettled. What most men don't realize is that your sexual habits might be influencing your sleep more than you think, and not always in a good way. You see, both sex and masturbation can lead to that familiar, sleepy feeling afterward. But the quality of the sleep that follows is very different. When you have sex with a partner, especially one you care about, your brain releases a powerful mix of oxytocin, prolactin, and melatonin. This combination helps the body feel safe, connected, and deeply relaxed. The result, a longer, more restorative sleep cycle, not just falling asleep faster, but staying asleep longer and waking up more refreshed. Masturbation can also trigger a mild release of these chemicals, but without the emotional and physical cues that come with real human touch, the effect is often weaker and shorter-lived. In fact, many men report that after masturbating late at night, they fall asleep, but wake up again soon after. That's not a coincidence. You may think you're helping your body wind down, but you might actually be interrupting your natural hormonal rhythm without even realizing it. And then there's testosterone, the hormone that often quietly declines with age. After 60, most men experience a slow, steady drop. But what many don't know is that sexual activity with a partner can trigger a natural, healthy spike in testosterone levels. It doesn't have to be wild or athletic, just connected. Even gentle touch and intimacy send signals to your body that say, you're alive, you're wanted, you're still in the game. This hormonal lift can support better mood, stronger bones, sharper memory, and yes, more restful sleep. This might shock you, but most old men do this wrong. They rely on masturbation as a nightly sleep aid, thinking it's harmless. But night after night, it can condition your brain and body to associate bedtime with a quick release instead of real rest. Over time, this can actually lead to fragmented sleep, feelings of guilt or emptiness, and a cycle that's hard to break. You're not alone. So many men struggle with this pattern, and no one is talking about it. If you've been feeling tired, restless, or emotionally flat, it might be time to look at what's happening behind closed doors, not with shame, but with curiosity, because your body is still capable of deep rest and hormonal balance, even after 60. You just have to give it the right kind of signal. You deserve a healthy, confident life, no matter your age. At this stage in life, your 60s, 70s, and beyond, it's easy to believe that pleasure is enough. That if you can still feel desire, still achieve release, still have a moment of physical satisfaction, that's all that matters. But here's something few men talk about, even fewer understand, and almost no one says out loud. What your body truly craves now is not just pleasure, it's connection. And there's a world of difference between the two. Masturbation may satisfy the body, but it doesn't feed the soul. It's a solitary act, and while it can provide relief, it lacks the deeper healing power that comes from being touched, seen, and accepted by another human being. Sex with a partner, especially one with whom you share trust or affection, activates more than just physical sensations. It opens the door to emotional security, self-worth, and even spiritual renewal. These are things no screen, no fantasy, no solo moment can replicate. You're not alone if you've ever felt a strange emptiness after masturbating. Most men feel this way but never say it. They finish and feel a strange wave of sadness or guilt or even loneliness. It's not because you've done anything wrong. It's because you're wired for connection. Your nervous system, your hormones, your very heart responds to being touched and being needed. That's not weakness. That's being human. No one talks about this, but they should. Because too many older men have settled for pleasure in place of intimacy. They've told themselves it's easier this way, less messy, less emotional, less vulnerable. And while it may be simpler, it's not necessarily healthier. Over time, solo pleasure can become hollow. It can feel like eating fast food, quick, predictable, and strangely unsatisfying in the long run. You may be harming yourself without even knowing, not because masturbation is wrong, but because it's not enough, not anymore. Your body may still respond, but your heart is asking for something deeper: closeness, trust, affirmation. When you lie beside someone who cares for you, when you're kissed not out of lust, but love, your body releases oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine in ways that heal. Truly heal. Your immune system gets stronger. Your mood stabilizes, your sense of purpose returns. These aren't just emotional perks, they're biological necessities. This might shock you, but most old men do this wrong. They withdraw, they isolate. They mistake privacy for peace and think desire fades with age. But desire doesn't disappear. It just waits for warmth, for kindness, for safety. You still deserve that. You deserve to be touched, to be wanted, to be known. Not because you're young, but because you're human. You've made it this far in life. You've overcome pain, loss, doubt, and change. Now is not the time to settle for less than what truly restores you. You deserve a healthy, confident life, no matter your age.